Right now, I've got my other guest in the room. We just finished up with another candidate, and I'm going to be doing this for the next several weeks before the primary. My guest right now is Danny Davis, who is seeking a seat in the North Carolina House of Representatives for District 118. Welcome, Danny. How are you doing today?
Good, Jim. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to address the citizens of Madison County here, too.
Well, you're going to be hopefully addressing us several more times before the election, although early voting starts in about a month and a week.
Yeah, I'll be glad to. I don't really have a primary, but I'm running like I have one anyway.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, before we get into the political questions and conversations, Danny, would you please give us a brief biography of yourself?
Sure. I was born and raised in Haywood County, lived in Waynesville most of my life. Went to Western Carolina University, got a BS in political science, minor in history, and then was in the charter class of Campbell University School of Law.
Oh, really? The charter class?
First class, and they made it pretty hard on us. We started out with 112 and finished with 89 our third year when we took the bar. So,
well, that's not too bad.
No, it wasn't bad. It's about the same rate they have at other law schools, I think. So,
and right now, it's about the same.
I'm not sure what it is now. Yeah. Campbell was more oriented for trial work if you wanted to stay in North Carolina and do your trial work, and that's what I was, wanted to do. So it worked out really well for me.
And you graduated and came back to Waynesville?
Graduated, came back to Waynesville, started practicing law with Chip King and Zeb Alley. Zeb was a big friend of Liston Ramsey, who was a Speaker of House here in Madison County. And I practiced law with them for a while. Then I was an assistant district attorney. Then came back and started practicing law again as a defense attorney. And was then in 1984 was appointed by Governor Hunt to the district court bench.
Oh, I see.
And so I served there for about 26 and a half years.
Wow.
The last 6, I was chief district court judge.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, and then since then, I've been doing court-ordered mediations, which I still do. So, but one thing I did, which I think helped me, my work history. I tell folks that I started as a stock boy at Sky City when they first opened in Waynesville.
Oh, yeah.
That was my first job in high school.
Uh-huh.
And I loved that job. And then they promoted me to custodian of the store. And I liked that job even better because I had to do some work, but you didn't have to do a lot sometimes until they called you when you had something happen,
Yeah, broken bottle or something.
Yeah. And so then they promoted me to assistant manager of the sporting goods and had a good boss there. He let me do my homework at night and agreed to let people come over. But one thing I learned is, like I've always told my kids, there's no shame in a hard day's work. And, a job gives you a sense of self-worth and a sense of belonging. So that's another reason I'm running. People's jobs are important and their lifestyle's important.
So no matter what they are, young or old, or what type of work.
No shame in a hard day's work, no matter what you do. It takes all of us working together to make everything work.
How long did you work at Sky City?
I worked there about 2.5 years.
Yeah, through high school.
And then I went on to Western Carolina University.
Yeah. So worked through college or not?
Worked for my father he owned an appliance store and electrical contracting company. And for that, he was a factory worker. My mother was a factory worker. So I don't come from a family of professionals. My family is working people.
Yeah.
And so I know what it's like to work a full day's job. One of the jobs he had me do one time, I was trying to decide whether I was going to law school or not. And he had me with another young guy dig a 300-foot ditch, a foot wide and a foot deep. And so in the middle of July.
Sometimes working for Dad is some of the toughest jobs you'll have.
Yeah. Well, after that job, he said, "What do you think about law school?" I said, "Well, I'm looking a little closer at that now."
Well, Danny, you are seeking a seat in District 118 of the North Carolina House of Representatives, currently held by Mark Pless. What has Mark Pless done or not done to get you motivated to take this big step of running a campaign? And have you met Mark Pless?
Mark, first time I ever knew of Mark was when I ran for commissioner in 2018 in a 6-man race. And he ran, and he actually got the seat. Me and another Democrat you voted for 3, and only one Democrat won, so 2 of us didn't. But he never really spoke to me. He never introduced himself, and
and he was a commissioner.
He was a candidate for commissioner.
Candidate.
He later won, and then I was chairperson of the Board of Elections. He used to come out there and never spoke to me, though.
Really?
No. So I don't really know Mark personally.
Yeah.
I know of him, but in terms of what he's done and what he hasn't done, one of the things he's done is try to tell local governments how to run their government. He wanted to, tell the school board up in Haywood County that they needed to be partisan instead of nonpartisan, and wanted to change that. And no one had asked him to do that. And as a result, some of them changed their politics from Democrat to Republican, I guess, because of what he.
Well, that occurred about 6 or 8 years ago, didn't it?
Yeah.
Everybody around here was steaming mad about it.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Of course, then you have the problem with EMS. He was trying to change the certification of EMS, and that was statewide. No one wanted to do that. They wanted to go to some kind of national certification instead of the certification that they do now, which they all said was more rigorous. But one of the things he said that I thought troubled me was they were asking about privatizing things, and like ambulance service, and in the Smoky Mountain News, one of the reporters asked him, would that extend to law enforcement? And he said yes. So, So I don't know what his motives are. I'm running not just because of him, but he's a symptom of the problem. But some of the policies they have in place in Raleigh are just not working, for working people. And, so that's my interest.
Well, you said you were the chair of the Board of Elections over there.
Yes.
Is that an elected official?
No, it's appointed. If the governor, whoever the governor is, if it's a Democrat or Republican, appoints the chairperson in each county board of elections.
Oh, really?
And that was that way until this last election when Governor Stein won, and the General Assembly changed that and
took that away from them
and gave it to the state auditor, which immediately appointed all Republicans for the chairperson.
Yeah.
But I will say, we had a good board.
Have you ever held a political office?
Yeah, I was a district court judge. I ran 6 times.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I ran 6 times in all 7 counties in the old 30th judicial district. Now it's the 43rd judicial district. And 6 times I was appointed in '84, and then ran 6 times to that office, and retired from that in 2010. I was a little too young to retire, I thought, so I just kept working as a mediator. I was an emergency judge after that, too, so I did that for a while.
Yeah. It's hard when I go to vote, I look at the ballot. Who are all these judges? I don't have a clue,
Yeah.
So.
Well, judges' races have become a lot more important.
Oh, they sure have.
Especially at the appellate level. So we need to pay close attention to those judges' races.
I will, thank you. I believe our state is the only one of the 50 states that is operating right now without a passed budget. And we're using our passed budget. That's correct?
Well, we're under the old budget.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is I was the legislative liaison for the district court judges to the General Assembly for about 12 years. I was one of several on a committee. And so the problem with that is some of that money is not recurring.
Right.
And unless they make it recurring, it goes away.
Yeah.
So without a budget, without that recurring money in there, you have to start cutting things. Yeah. I just noticed where UNC Chapel Hill was getting ready to cut $85 million out because we don't have a budget. they don't know whether that's going to be included back in the budget again or not. So it creates a lot of uncertainty. There's uncertainty. There's several, I guess, governmental positions that are waiting to be filled because they're not sure whether they're going to have the money to fill them or not. So creates a lot of uncertainty on how to plan for next year.
And this is led by a Republican Senate and a Republican House.
Yes, and constitutionally, they're required to pass a budget by June 30th of every year.
Yeah.
And so why they can't do that is a mystery to me.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand. Sometimes you might be a little late getting your budget passed, but the Constitution basically says you got to get it done. So.
Well, it's a sad state of affairs, that's for sure. Folks, I am talking with Danny Davis, a candidate to unseat Mark Plus of the 118th District of the House of Representatives. You may reach at the North Carolina House of Representatives. You may reach him at danny@davis4nchouse.com. Correct?
That's it.
That's Danny at Davis, the numeral 4, and then nchouse.com.
And then I also have a website, davis4nchouse.com, that they can go on and look. And it has all the things that I'm talking about trying to do. Because I think it's important for Democrats. I want to go back to what Democrats made it, what made us what we are, to go back to kitchen table issues and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Issues that matter to working people, middle income people, and young families. So it's important to me to work for those people. So if they go on my website, it's a really great website. Kelly Costello designed that website. She's working for me in this campaign. She did a great job. So it's pretty informative if they want to go check it out.
And give it again.
Yeah. It's davis@nchouse.com.
Davis at NC.
Davis4nchouse.com.
Davis 4, the numeral 4, nchouse.com. Danny, you were district court judge, as you said, for over 26 years, with 6 of those years as chief district court judge. With added responsibilities, does a chief judge have, what added responsibilities does a chief judge have over a district court judge?
Oh, gosh, chief district court judge. I had 7 counties in the old 30th district. It was Haywood all the way to Cherokee County, Clay, Macon, Graham, Swain, Haywood, and Jackson. So
a lot of miles.
A lot of 90, took you an hour and a half to get to court sometimes.
Yeah.
You have to schedule all the judges.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, you have to supervise 40, I think there was 47 magistrates I had to supervise. And make sure they got their schedules correct. Also had to work with all 7 counties, their sheriffs, the jails, all the police departments. And we used to try to meet quarterly at least. So there's a lot of work to being a chief district court judge.
I guess so. Boy, you get on the House of Representatives, you're going to be on easy street compared to I'm kidding. Would you tell us, do you mind telling us 1 or 2 of the more interesting cases you've presided over?
Probably with all this immigration stuff that's going on now, probably one of the most, most important cases I dealt with was a young Mexican girl. And it's a juvenile case, so I can't really.
Oh, so she was like under 16.
Yeah. Was abused by her father, who was here legally, had a green card. She was abused so bad that it burst both eardrums. Anyway, so Haywood County DSS took custody of her and
put her in a foster home.
Yeah, put her with some foster parents. And so later, the DSS director there wanted to send her back to Mexico. And the evidence was that if you sent her back to Mexico, the father would have free access to her, and he traveled back and forth. And so was
she born here, a legal citizen?
He was legal, but he could go back and forth. I don't know if he's legal. He had a green card, so he was here legally, and he could travel back and forth.
Yeah, but was the girl born here?
Yes.
Oh, so she was a citizen.
And yeah, but he had custody of her. And so they wanted to turn custody back over to him, and I wouldn't do it because I wasn't sure she could be protected in Mexico. And so actually the immigration judge in Atlanta got involved, and there was some talk about trying to hold me in contempt if I, didn't release her. And I just basically said, look, he's got to do his job. I got to do mine. I'm not going to release a child to be abused again by a parent. So that's
good for you.
And actually made Good Morning America. So
it did.
Yeah, I used to tell him I was the only Good Morning America judge.
Excellent.
But it got worked out. She got to stay, and so
been adopted, or is she?
I don't know what happened to her. Actually, Jesse Helms was the senator, got involved.
Oh, so she's well into adult, 30 year old.
Yeah. But Jesse Helms got involved, and I guess threatened to cut immigration's budget down there in Atlanta or something, and they backed off. So.
Oh wow!
So.
Did you know Jesse pretty well?
I did not know him. The attorney that was the guardian ad litem for the young girl knew him and put in a phone call and told him the situation. And
excellent.
To his credit, he agreed that she didn't need to go back to Mexico.
Well, do you approve of what Immigration Customs Enforcement are doing in the state of Minnesota and across states in the United States?
Well, I'm a rule of law guy. I believe in the rule of law.
Yeah.
And so people need to be here legally, no question about that. But their tactics I've never seen anything like it. First of all, they're not law enforcement, and that's obvious if you saw some of the videos.
Sure.
They don't really know how to handle the situations they're in. Not, in my opinion, not trained to do that.
Uh-huh.
And so that's what happens when you have an untrained force.
Yeah.
If you go back and you look at the good woman that was shot, most officers that I've dealt with, and I've ridden with officers sometimes, I used to ride with them at night, and I've seen them actually do things in my court. If you go back and look at that video, he gets out of his truck and charges her vehicle like a bull,
Yeah.
Instead of most of the officers I've talked to and know, would have tried to diffuse the situation and say,
walk up calmly
and say, ma'am, you're impeding our traffic and impeding what we're trying to do. If you don't move your car, we're going to have to arrest you. But that's not what he did. And then he grabbed the door and started screaming and yelling at her. And then also the shooting we had over the weekend, same thing. They were the aggressor, not this guy and not her. And so it's it's just a classic example of I don't think enough training. And they're masked. They don't have name tags. Our local enforcement, they can't be masked, and they have to have name tags, and that's because they're held accountable for what they do.
Right.
And so I just think there needs to be an investigation. It needs to be transparent. And I think the state of Minnesota needs to be involved in it. You don't need the agency that's, maybe committed the act to be the one that investigates themselves. Yeah. So I'm hopeful that they'll, do something about that. It's certainly not a good situation.
No.
And it's like I used to tell folks, when you call your local law enforcement, you don't expect the 82nd Airborne to show up.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what it looks like to me. Crowd control, it didn't look like they have a clue what they're doing with crowd control.
And as of Petty, it looked like he was bending over trying to help the lady that was pushed down.
Yeah.
And from what I saw, and then he was manhandled to the ground. Well, anyways, we live in divided times across our country and state, but not in our own Madison County, with it being really solidly Republican. I assume you're already campaigning across the district in 118, are you not?
I've been here 2 or 3 times. Like I said, I don't have a primary, but I'm still trying to get organized and get started. But we are going to start going to as many places as we can.
Yeah.
One of the things I want to do is go down to Hot Springs and Marshall and talk to some of the business owners about the damage that Helene caused. I was surprised with Marshall. It looked like they've made a great deal of progress.
They're coming along. Madison County Arts Council, of which WART is a service, is really fixing up their building nicely.
And Haywood County, when you talk about Pless, the town of Waynesville didn't get any help. They rebuilt a bridge that was a big connection to the downtown Waynesville. They built that out of their own money. They got reimbursed lately. So
that's good.
I just want to make sure that they get their fair share of the money we need to rebuild. I don't see how, if we've got $55 billion worth of damage, it looks like we've got a long way to go. And so we can't forget about these people. I still have a friend in Haywood County that had his bridge washed out, not the bridge, but all the land around it. He's still out of his house over a year. And I've heard of more stories like that. And that's just not acceptable. We have to do more to try to do something and help those folks.
Well, it sounds like Mark Pless needs to do more. I don't know. You can put a bug in their ear and then just keep bugging them for the money. Yeah,
I think he's going to say he's got some money, and in his defense, he has. The question I have is there's a difference in money being appropriated and money actually being sent in hand, checks.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm curious about. How many people have actually gotten the money that's been appropriated? We're certainly not anywhere near $55 billion.
No.
And we know the infrastructure is important up here. We don't have the infrastructure even now to attract jobs of the 21st century. High-speed internet, water and sewer in some places, and natural gas. So we need to look long-term and try to rebuild that infrastructure and make sure when we build it back that it's going to withstand another catastrophe, because we're going to have another weather-related catastrophe.
Yeah.
I hope not, but it's better that we plan for it. Lawyers are taught to plan for the worst and hope for the best.
Yeah.
And so that's what we need to do with this, right. I think.
Well, again, listeners, I'm speaking with a candidate for the North Carolina House of Representatives, former District Court Judge Danny Davis. Do you want to give a phone number out or not?
No, that's fine. It's 828-506-8385. And if I don't answer, leave a message and I'll call you back. I'm used to returning phone calls. I used to do that. I'd drive about 90 miles to Murphy and come. If I got through early, I'd come back to the office when I was chief judge and have to return calls. So that's just part of the job.
Or you can email him at danny@davis4nchouse.com. That's danny@davis4nchouse.com. Please, people, vote at the Beach Glen Community Center or AV Tech starting February 12th to the primary on March 3rd. As they say here in Madison, vote early and vote often. I guess they say that in other places too, but it's a good line. It appears all political fights will cost more than ever this year, Danny, running up to the November 3rd election day. Where will most of your money come from?
Well, we're getting a lot of money from individuals, some small businesses who I think are not treated fairly under the tax system, by the way, that they have in Raleigh. I've had some interest from some PACs, but the problem with getting money from PACs is you have to fill out these surveys, and they want you to answer all these questions.
A lot of paperwork.
And it kind of pins you down in some respects. And I want to be able to keep an open mind about some things. And so I'd have to look really close at PAC money. I'm not a big fan of PAC money.
Yeah. Well, how much do you expect? I had Jamie Ager on about a month ago.
Yeah.
He said for the U.S. House of Representatives, it's going to cost him over $1 million.
Oh, for sure.
How much do you think it'll cost you for your campaign?
I don't have a clue. I'm going to try to get to see as many people as I can. I'm going to try to do the old-fashioned campaigning, but we've also got social media that I'm trying to get out on and work pretty hard at.
I guess Kelly's good at that, right?
Kelly's really good at that. And my campaign manager, Ashley Long, the two of them have got a lot of stuff planned out for me to do. So I'm going to work on that. I don't know, I ran in 2012 for the House seat. Joe Sam Queen and me had a primary, and he won by 17 votes. So, and that was in 3 counties. But back then we didn't. I'm trying to remember how much we raised. It probably $50,000 or $60,000.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so, a realistic goal I think is try to raise $100,000 if we can. We're going to try to raise as much as we can, but I'm not going to aggravate people to death. But it takes money to run this campaign, and there really, I'm doing this for working people. I mean, I read a book by John Meacham, Thomas Jefferson, The Art of Power, and Jefferson really believed in economic equality too. And, his race was thrown into the House of Representatives in 1801, even though he won the popular vote. So there was election turmoil back in 1801.
Wow.
But one of the things that he said that I really loved, he said, men are not born with saddles on their back to be ridden by the privileged few.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I'm after. We got an affordability crisis.
Yeah.
But we also have a wage crisis. We're not paid living wages in Haywood, Madison County.
Well, with our state, not raising our minimum wage, it's still $7.25.
$7.25 an hour. Last time it was raised was in 2009 by a Democrat-led House of Representatives and Senate in North Carolina. Hasn't been raised since, and so still $7.25 an hour. No one can live on $7.25 an hour, and the actual wage in Madison and Haywood County, I think the average salary is about $47,000 a year. That translates to $21 or $22 a year. But with all the costs now, child care, $1,500 a month, rent and house payments at $1,800 a month, and young working people can't even afford to buy a house now. I saw the other day the average homeowner, first-time buyers in their 40s.
Right.
So young people are looking at this like this. I work my tail off, and I just get farther behind.
Yeah.
I don't get ahead. So we got to do something about that. And infrastructure is one of the things we need to bring better paying jobs here, in my opinion. So.
Well, a couple of things. You have a whole bunch of education behind you. NC already, right now, spends over $4,500 less per child per year than the average state across the United States. However, how do you feel about vouchers?
Well, let me put it this way. The Constitution, Article 9, Section 2 of North Carolina requires that we have public and free education in North Carolina. It requires the General Assembly, in my opinion, to adequately fund public schools, which they're not doing. You ask about Mark Pless. Since he became representative, we were 43rd in teacher pay out of 50 states. We're still 43rd.
Yeah, jeez.
Or 44th. We were 48th in per pupil spending.
48th. Geez.
Now we're 50th. That's 6 years later of his service and the leadership down there. So it's a race to the bottom that they finally won.
Yeah.
We finally got to the bottom. And there's a case called Leandro that the Supreme Court ruled that they had, under the Constitution, the legislature had to adequately fund schools, public schools, not private schools.
Right.
So I'm not against private schools, but not at the expense of public schools.
Yeah. Which are vouchers.
That's exactly what vouchers are.
$4,000 a piece, right?
And they give them, and there's no income limit on it. If it is, it's not much. So people that make $1 million a year get these vouchers too. I guess they send their kids to Christ School or Asheville Country Day and I, over in Asheville, because we don't have a private school like that in Haywood. I don't think you have one in Madison.
Yeah.
So, we're constitutionally required to do that, and we need to do more. And if they would quit giving these huge tax breaks to the ultra rich and the big corporations, they didn't have enough time to do a budget before Christmas. But they had time to gerrymander another district and take a district away from a Democrat congressman and enhance their power. And so they didn't have it. They had enough time to do that. What they didn't have enough time to do was balance the budget. But they also had enough time to give the big corporations another 0.25% tax break, which took $1 billion out of our budget. $1 billion out of our budget next year, reportedly. So that's $1 billion that could have come back to public schools, and Hurricane Helene.
Yeah.
And the governor asked them not to do it, but they did it anyway. So you got to have representatives that are willing to listen to people, and that's another thing I think Pless falls short at. He wants to do things without listening to people. I'm going to be the representative. I'm not going to come to Madison or Haywood County and tell the towns and the county and the sheriffs and the school boards how you need to run your county or your town or your school board. I'm going to come to them and say, what is it I can do to help you? What is it Raleigh can do to make your life better? I want to hear from people, because that's what the legislature was supposed to do. And you're supposed to put people over politics, not politics over people. And right now, they're putting politics over people in Raleigh and Washington. And it's got to stop. It's just got to stop. The economic inequality is something that's got to stop too. You got to quit giving money to the top 10%, all the money to the top 10%, and go back and give it to the working people, the 90%. By the way, it wasn't the billionaires and millionaires that made this country or the state. It was the working people that worked their tails off so that they could become billionaires and millionaires that made this country what it is. And it's time they got their fair share. And so that's one of my big goals.
Well said. Well, Danny, we are about out of time. Any last words for the listeners out there?
Yeah, no, just because I need to make clear I'm not on the ballot in March because I didn't have a primary, so I'm the nominee. So
for the election in November.
For the election in November,
right.
But what I'd like to say to them is this is not about me. This is really about you, the people, and this may be one of the last chances we have to make a difference, to move forward, and to pass legislation that helps most of the people, not a few of the people. And I'm determined to try to do that. And, it would help if we're in the majority to do that. But even if we're not, years ago, Republican and Democrat legislators worked together for Western North Carolina because, quite frankly, we've never gotten our fair share
right.
of the pie. And so they would work together to do things for our district.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter to me if I'm in the majority. I would still like to work with our local legislators, whoever they are, and hope that we could agree on things we need to get done for our people, regardless of the politics. And I think if we do that, we're starting to put people first and politics last, which is what we should be doing.
Yeah. Danny, thank you so much for coming down.
Thank you, Jim.